I'm standing at the edge of the pool, and I'm worried. Everybody else has gotten into the pool already, and I have this 30-pound oxygen tank on my back. And people seem to be kind of moving effortless through the water. People meaning a lot of younger people, mostly like a quarter of a century younger than I am. And I'm just going over in my head again and again and again all of these instructions that have been coming at me. And I'm not a person who's particularly organized. I don't have a great memory, and I'm not sort of procedural oriented. So scuba diving has proved to be a little more difficult than I thought. And suddenly, across the pool, my instructor screams out, "Miller, clear the edge of the pool and don't forget to breathe." I'm like, oh yeah, I have to remember to breathe above everything else. And he's like, and just get in the pool or you're gonna humiliate both of us at the Great Barrier Reef. So I plunge. And as I plunge, I'm just repeating over and again, clear your mask, clear your nose, clear your oxygen, and breathe. So yeah, I'm going to the Great Barrier Reef, and I'm not exactly sure where I should go on the coast, and so I call up my friend Kim, and he's like, "You're going? That's amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go snorkeling, and I'm just trying to find the right place." And he's like, "Snorkeling? You mean like a day trip?" He's like, They have these trips where they take you out on a boat, and you can go and be on the reef for like 3 or 4 days, and you'll do scuba diving. You gotta do scuba diving like maybe 3 or 4 times a day. He's like, "Liz, it changed my life. I was 20 years old, and it changed my life." And I was like, yeah, you were 20 years old. But you know, I'm like, maybe this is an opportunity for a mid-life adventure. So I sign up. And when I get to the Great Barrier Reef, it is amazing. I mean, there are young people from every country around the world, from Lithuania and Spain and Holland and who knows where else. And Déjà Vu, they are all under 26 years old, and I am a quarter of a century older than them because I am 52, and I am so nervous again. And but I'm also really excited. And the instructor gets on the boat, and he's like, "Today we are going to be putting on stinger suits because it is stinger season." Stinger season, okay. And it is also really, really windy today, so anybody who has any problems like with seasickness, you should probably take your pills. And I'm like, seasickness, okay. And he's also like, so find your buddy because we're gonna do some emergency rolls before we go plunging. So I'm like, a buddy? I don't have a buddy because I am on my own on my mid-life adventure, but I don't have a buddy, so I'm looking around and I see 3 young women, and I walk towards them, and one reluctantly agrees to be my buddy. And it is really interesting to get to know somebody as you are doing emergency protocols. So Eden is a nurse in training, and she's super patient with me. And we get ready to plunge. And again, just remembering all the steps. Clear your mask, clear your nose, clear your oxygen, and don't forget to breathe. So when I am not really worrying and freaking out about the possibility of my lungs imploding or forgetting some key procedure, I'm actually having the time of my life. I mean, the kinds of things that I'm seeing underwater, I never expected. The colors, the coral reef itself, these sea cucumbers at the bottom of the ocean. It's amazing. And and it is so amazing. I mean, we are getting up at 7:30 in the morning. We are diving at 11:30 in the afternoon, 2:30 p.m., and again at 5 p.m. it is really intense. And I am exhausted by day 3. The instructor's like, today we're going to learn how to do underwater photography. And I'm like, I actually don't want to learn anything else. I think I have done enough diving for the rest of my life. And I explain, I am actually just going to go snorkeling. I am going to put all the heavy equipment, all the procedures to the side. I'm going to take myself out, and I'm just going to float at the top of the ocean. I'll just look from afar at these beautiful, beautiful fish and things in the ocean. And it is amazing. And I have an amazing time on my own. And I come back and I tell my instructor, I'm actually not going to do any more dives. I have done everything I needed to do on this midlife adventure. And he looks at me and he's like, there is something really special happening tonight. Of course. I'm like, well, what is it? And he's like, well, at 9:30, we're going to go for an evening dive. And we're doing this because there's a full moon, as you've noticed, and every year, once a year, there's something that happens that's called a spawning, a massive spawning. A spawning, okay? And he's like, and this is when the entire coral reef emits sperm and eggs all at the same time. It's a massive reproductive event under the water, and it's like a Canadian snowstorm underwater. So I'm like, freaky, okay. Well, I don't want to miss that. So, but I'm not, I mean, like, I am pretty worried about going underwater at night in the cold, can't see much, they've explained, but I don't want to miss out on anything. So at 9:30, I'm ready. I'm going over that protocol in my mind again and again. Just remember, clear your mask, clear your nose, clear your ventilator. It's going to be okay. And we're going down very close to the boat with a rope because the visibility is nil. We can't see anything. And they have given us these flashlights, but they've also explained, headlights, that we shouldn't use them because they could really spook all the creatures that are underwater, you know, like the octopus or the sharks or whatever else is down in the dark that night. So I'm like, okay. And we're going down, and Eden and I are doing okay. We're like 10 feet away from the boat, and suddenly my flipper falls off. This had not happened to me before. I was not expecting it. And I'm like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to like find my flipper? So I'm kind of freaking out, and I'm looking around, and I guess I'm freaking out so much that I also lose Eden. I lose my buddy. And so now it's like me in the dark with no buddy and no flipper. And I'm like, I have to turn the light on. I am going to turn my light on. I'm going to spook out somebody. It's okay. So I turn my light on, and I'm really trying to just breathe. Remember, just breathe in, breathe out. And suddenly, this big sea turtle comes into view. The sea turtle is about 6 feet long, and it has these like magnificent fins, and it has this like unbelievable shell. I don't know if anybody's seen a big turtle before, but it just made me think about the 150 million years that sea turtles have been moving through these waters. And I just forget about the fin. And I forget about all my anxieties about memory and aging. And I forget about worrying for a minute. And I just look at this turtle as it kind of moves by me. And I hear a little voice in my head, Miller, you got this. And I'm like, yeah, I do. Breathe in, breathe out.